Are you gonna call him?
Kal Kadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Menahot Daf Yomi Daf Lametet Amudale 39A1. Says the Gemara, Daf Lametet. Yeah, you have it? You want Lametet Menachot? Yeah, Lametet Malkut. Yeah, fine. He comes and he says like this: Amar Rabba, ve'Amar Rabba. Rabba comes and he says, Shema Mina. Right, we're going to learn from here. Kesher Elyon is Doraita. The Kesher Elyon is going to be Doraita. These are Kadach the Rabbanan. As if you're going to tell me it's the Rabbanan. My Itzrich Lemishre Sadin Betzitzit. Right? Why Be'emet you have a limun yuchad to come and to permit tzitzit? Right? Pshita, obviously. Tocheft chichva achat. Put it inside. Venu chibur. Ela shema mina it's midoraita. By the way, you should know. I just taught this to the children. Right? Do you know there's an inyan that you should have the four which are on this side are not the same four on this side. Meaning when you have the tzitzit, the four which are going here should not be the same four as going here. It should be two different fours, right? Why? Because if you get them all mixed up and then they tear, if it tears on this side, it's kosher. But if it tears on this side, it's also kosher. But if it was the same one, so it's not kosher. So you always keep them separate. But I told them, but how do you keep them separate? You come and at the top of the tzitzit, right? You're going to make a knot. So I go like this, right? And you make like a knot. Okay? Now, by making a knot, it's not kosher. And then afterwards, what you just do, pull, right? And that's it. And it's kosher. Okay? Fine. I told them, when do you do that? Only after it's doraita. What does that mean? I tell them at the beginning, when they put in the tzitziot here on the bottom, they put in the tzitziot, right? I just did it with them last Wednesday, right? We put in the tzitziot. And then what I do is I have them separate, right? 4 and 4. I keep them separate in my hand and I make the knots, the two knots on the bottom. That's doraita. That's what we just learned right now. The knot, the kesher at the bottom is doraita. And then I do 3 chuliot. 3 chuliot is around 3 times. Once you go around 3 times and you made the double knot, it's already doraita, it's already kosher. Now that it's kosher, I come at the end of one of the 4, right? It's usually the one that doesn't have the thing, obviously, and I tie it together. Now, why do you do that? Very, very simple reason. There's an avera, not an avera, there's a mitzvah that you cannot say ta'aseh v'lo min ha'isui. Ta'aseh v'lo min ha'isui means I cannot make something that when I made it, it's pasul, and then afterwards I did an action and I made it kasher. So, for example, right? So what happens? I just made the tzitzit. Right now, the tzitzit is going to be pasul because I came and I had a knot on the top. All of a sudden, I finished the tzitzit. Whoops! I unraveled it. Now it becomes kasher. I can't do that. It's called ta'aseh. You have to do it. Velo min so you know that it's made. I'll give you another example. You're doing the sukkah, right? You made the walls, or you have the walls up all year, but the walls is no problem. Now you're doing the schach. All of a sudden, it starts raining, snowing. So what do? You come and you put the cover on top. And then when the cover's on top and it's still raining or snowing or whatever it is, I come up there and I start putting, right, the beams, and then I put the schach and I put everything. So now what happens? Right now it's pasul. Why is it pasul? Because the cover's on the top. All of a sudden it stops raining. I come and I open it up. When I open it up, now the opening up of the cover made it kasher. So that's asur because it's ta'aseh v'lo min asur. There's a whole thing. How do you do it? You have to start moving it around. But if I just leave it the way that it is, it's pasul. It's ta'aseh v'lo min asur. But ta'aseh v'lo min asur, he says the Biur only applies in a doraita, not on the rabbanan. So here, since we just said the kesher arishon, the first kesher is doraita, so we have to do the first kesher, 3 chuliot, 3 times around, and then I come and I make the knot on the top of the tzitzit. Okay? Amar Rabba Ravada says Ravada Menavada Amar Rav Im nifsak achut mi karo psula. If the chut came and it tore from the beginning, it's going to be pasul, right? Which means at over here. This is the ikaro. Meaning, if right now you've got all the tzitziot, right? The tzitziot, and one tzitzit over here on the corner of the beged tore over here, it's pasul. Okay, so it means if a person comes and he looks and he sees that it's torn over here, there's nothing to do. It's pasul. Okay, so he says Yativ Rav Nachman v'kama lashmata eitvei Rav Nachman med when he knew these words bitchilato. Aval besofo, right? He says aval besofo shira v'gardumav kolshu. You could have any amount. My shira v'may gardumav. Are we not talking about shira is nifsik minayu v'shtira minayu v'gardumav digardu v'gardume, which means that really by met it's nifsak legamre from the beged. So he says no chadaktani shure gardumav kolshu. It's talking about that they left over a little bit, but it's talking about the chutim at the end, not the beginning. Meaning when it's be'emet going to be over here, which is on the beged, it's pasul. But if it's going to be over here, where the tzitzit is, and then it tore, it's going to be kosher, right? As long as you have kol shul. So says the Gemara, "Velema gardumav shirav lamali." So just say gardumav. What is shirav? So kamashmalan the beinan shiye, right? That you need the shirura legardumav kidei lavan. You need kidei aniva. Okay. Okay. Yativ Rabba v'ka'amar mishmed Rav. Right. Rabba was sitting and he said in the name of Rav, chut shel kerech. When you have a chut, right, which is around the other chutim, ole mina minyan. It's going to be ole mina minyan. So Amar le Rav Yosef, right? Says Rav Yosef to Rabba, Shemuel Amra. Shemuel said this velo Rav and not Rav. Itmar nami. He was also stated, Amar Rav Chana, Sachli Rebi Yoshia de min Usha. Right? Told me Rav Yoshia de min Usha. Chut shel kerech olela mina minyan. The chut shel kerech is going to be ole mina minyan. So Yati v'kamar mishmed Shmuel tchelet shekarach ruba. When you have tchelet, the tzitzit, which you did the majority of it, which is going to be 2/3, is kosher. Amar Rav Yosef Amar Shmuel v'lo right. Rav Amra was Rav and not Shmuel. Itmar nami was also stated Amar Ravuna Amar Rav Amar Sheshat Amar Rav tchelet shekarach ruba. It's going to be kosher. So if you went and you did the majority of it like this, it's still going to be kosher. Okay. Rav Chia berei de Rav Natan matni hachi. Amar Ravuna Amar Rav Sheshat Amar Rabba Amar Rav tchelet shekarach ruba is going to be kosher. Vafilu lo karach ba ela chulya achat. Even if you had one chulya, right, one time around, it's going to be kosher. V'noyet tchelet shlish ba. What is the noyet tchelet? Shlish gadil ushne shlish anaf. Meaning like this. What is the nicest? That you have 1/3. How do you call this? 1/3, like this, like the how do you call it with the things all around, and 2/3 empty. That's the nicest. The knots versus yes, the knots versus the strings. So the best thing is that you should have 1/3 the knots and 2/3 strings. Okay, that's what we just said. Okay. Yeah, so that should be 1/3, and then 2/3, meaning that's 1/3, and then you should have 2/3. Okay, very good. V'kama shiur chulya. Yeah, say like that the entire time. Exactly. Yeah. If you won't come here, so at least you're the mannequin on the for the thing. Yeah. If the doctor comes. Okay. V'kama shiur chulya. Tanya, we learned right Rabbi Omer kadesh yichroch v'yishne v'yishalesh. Tana apochet v'yivchot misheva. You have to make a minimum of 7 chuliot. V'mosiv lo yisiva shlosh. But never meaning 7 is the minimum when you're going around. Yeah. 7 as a
1, 2, 3, 4 of the Yitke Vavke, and then you.
Very good. So that's going to be another minhag. Here in the footnote, he says, look in the footnote.
This knot is
the bottom is the doraita, and then you have 3. Right? If you actually pay attention, what's the number according to Shulchan Aruch? 7, 8, 11, 13. Right? And some people say 7, 9, 11, 13 in order to get 40 because they say it's Havaya Echad, right? And some people say it's just 39 because Havaya is 26, Echad is 13. So it's 39. So that's what we do usually on Talit Gadol. 39.
39.
Okay, that's what we do. Okay. No, usually our minhag is to do Talit Katan 10, 5, 6, 5, Yud Ke Vav Ke, and Talit Gadol 7, 8, 11, 13, which is Havaya Echad. Which one? 10, 5, 6, 5.
39 is because like the milim of the Absag Vav. So that's 39. 39
in where? In where?
In Absag Vav. How you
39 otiyot. No, but you also have it because it's Havaya Echad. Yud Ke Vav Ke and then Echad.
So this is like cool, like Ben Ishchai or
no, that's regular. Ben Ishchai is a different order of how in the middle it's like 3, 3 and then whatever. Like it's the way that it's divided. Okay. You don't have a thing. Okay. So he says over here. So therefore, the minimum would be 7, and the maximum is going to be 13. Okay. So why? He says, Amosif, right? He says, Tana pochelo yivchom sheva, Amosif l'siu shlosh. Pochelo yivchom sheva because there's sheva rekaim. There's going to be 7 firmaments, 7 heavens. Amosif lo shlosh keneg shiva rekim v'shisha avirim benehem. There's 7 heavens, so there's 6 spaces in between each one. So Tana, we learned keshu matchil bechut lavan. When you start, you always start with the lavan because it's kanaf, meaning kanaf. Keshu mesayem lavan. You also finish with the lavan. Malim kodesh v'moridin because you go up in kodesh and not go down. Okay, Rav bar Chana Havuyat v'Kav Chalef v'Azel Ugavra temikase glima dekulat chelta or mele chelta. He was mechuseh with a beged kulot chelet, and he had chutet chelet v'lavan, right? Ugdila migdil, and everything was kalua without leaving an enough of the chutim. Amar Rav, says Rav, yaeg glima v'leyat chelta. He says it's nice the tzitzit, but it's not nice the anaf. Why? It's not kosher because the entire thing was tied, meaning there was nothing empty. Right? No, it was good. It was fine. But might come people get what's the machloka between them. Rabbi Bachana Savar, he held ktiv gdil u ktiv ptil. It's written gdil and it's written ptil. Or gdil or ptil, or. Rav Savar, no, leolam ptil bain, and you do need the ptil. He gdilim leminyan udata. And there it's just the gdilim just for the numbers. Gdil it's by itself. Shnaim. Gdilim is arba. Ase gdil u potelto mitochos. You have to make the gdil, right? And the rest of it, you're going to make it the ptili, which is again, you're going to make it with the knots and then empty. So Amar Shmuel Mishmei de Levi, says Shmuel in the name of Levi, Chutet Semer Potrin bePishtan. Chutet Semer are going to be poter in Pishtan as well, which means that even though you have a beged Pishtan, you're allowed to put chutim of Tzemer. Right? That means you're allowed to have like the shatnez on the tzitzit. Yibai lehu, so we ask the question, Shal Pisham al Shivturu Shel Tzemer, right? Tzemer Shal Pishtim Ude Patar Kevin Dechelet, Patra Lavana Mi Patar, Aval Pishtim Shel Tzemer Olo, או דימה, כיוון דכתיב, since it's written, לא תתבע שענה סמל ופשתים יחדיו, כדין תעשה לך. So לא שנת סמל ופשתים, לא שנת פשתים וצמל, doesn't matter which one's which. So תשמע, דאמר רחבה אמר רב יהודה, חוטי צמל פותרים של פשתן, you have חוטי צמל, right, we're on 39b, yeah? There's going to be פותר של פשתן, ושל פשתן פותרים של צמל. חוטי צמל ופשתים פותרים בכל מקום, ואפילו בשיין. So it comes out that even on meshi, on silk, yeah, so even on silk, you're going to have, right, צמל ופשתים. And it argues on Rav Nachman. Here you have it. According to him, any beged of like meshi, which is like silk, is patur from tzitzit at all. So Eitvei Rav Nachman in shirayim v'kalach v'asrikin kula chayvim. He says, what are you talking about? It's chayav because even the silk, it's chayav in tzitzit. So he says, no, you're only chayav midrabanan, not midoraita. You remember according to Shtam Maran, right? You're not gonna. It's doraita is the tzemer. Right? It's not going to be doraita if it's not semen. That's why I always tell people, don't come and start putting the cotton or whatever it is. Why? Because it's not doraita. You want to fulfill the mitzvah, doraita. What's the mitzvah doraita? Wool. Right? That's a mitzvah. Okay? That's not wool. What can you do?
Wool?
What does you know?
100% wool.
Yeah? Okay. If it's wool, it's wool. Okay, I have no idea. Let's say the seifa, וכולן סמל ופשתים פותרים בזה. If you're going to tell me it's doraita, that's why it's going to be permitted kilaim. But if you're going to tell me the rabbanan, how's it going to be permitted kilaim? Meaning, how are you going to be permitted kilaim if it's going to be like this? So Ema is going to say tzemer or pishtim. It's going to be tzemer or one or the other. It's also mistabra the tani seifa hen. Right, b'minan potrin, shalom b'minan potrin. Yeah, I understand it's going to be b'midrabanan and dumafatra b'minan. It's going to be in the same species. But if you're going to tell me it's doraita, semen of ishtim is going to be patur. So he says, oh, right, imishum ha lo iri. You can't bring me a proof from here. Kedrava like Rava. The Rava Rami Buz Rava came and he asked a contradiction. Ketiv, it's written kanaf and it's min kanaf. Uchtin semen of ishtim. How does it be? How does it work? So he says, semen of ishtim potrin b'miyam shamim. Semen of ishtim is always going to be poter. Whether it's the same mean or not the same mean. Meaning, the way that you have the tzitziot, if it's semer or pishtim, it's poter everything. But he comes and he says, the chutet tzitzit. Yes, the beged. But if it's going to be other meaning, so only b'minan potrin, lo b'minan potrin. So for example, let's say I have silk.
Silk and silk.
Exactly. But I cannot put silk on wool. Or I cannot put silk on, I don't know what, another type of cotton or whatever it is. Meaning, if it's going to be the same species, you could have the same species. So I could have the silk with the silk. What other things are there other than cotton? I'm saying there's polyester. I don't know. Polyester is polyester. All the things which are the same, you could do it. But the second that it's not going to be the same, you're not allowed to. Other than semen ufishtim. But semen ufishtim is always going to be poter. Okay, that's like the universal.
If it's not semen ufishtim.
Rav Nachman. Yeah, Rav Nachman holds like Tana Rav Ishmael. The Tana Rav Ishmael. Hol v'ne'emru begadim b'Torah stam. Since it's a stam, you have to put on begadim. U'pirilecha k'tuv bechamen, and it did tell you that semen uvishtim. Of course, so too, anytime that it's going to tell you a beged, it means semen uvishtim. So Amar Abaye come and he says, "Vay Tana Rav Ishmael mapka mi'idach Tana Rav Ishmael." He says, "What? One Tana Rav Ishmael is learning from the other Tana Rav Ishmael. The Tana Rav Ishmael beged en li'ela beged semen. Minayin l'rabot semen shel gamalim v'semen shel aranavim v'semen notzah shel izim v'akalach v'asrikim v'ashirayin." Right, meaning, how do you know that also tumat tzarat is going to be with everything? Meaning, we're talking about tzarat. That it says by the tzarat that if the beged has tzarat, now which type of beged? If it's only tzemen, any beged could have tzarat. So that's what the Gemara just says now. Tabun omar o beged. When it says o beged, any type of a clothing could be susceptible for tzarat. Any type of beged. We're talking about beged on the tzarat on the clothing, no?
Yeah, but tzarat is on the body, not on the beged.
No, there's tzarat on beged also. There's tzarat on the body, beged, the bite.
When a person
It starts on the bite, it continues on the beged, and then it continues on the human being. There's 3 tzarat. Right? It's the end of Parashat Metzora.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
right, when he says, when you're going to ki tifse babeged or ba'or, right, babeged or ba'or or kol kalim. What does that mean?